last day of round robin is in full swing, and we're about to hop into our third EMEA match. And to talk about the series, I got myself a very special guest. It's going to be OC joining us to break it all down. OC, it's so great to have you on broadcast. How you doing?
I'm doing good today. It's a good day. I'm really excited.
It's a good day.
OWCS is just getting started.
That's right, that's right. And I'm so glad that we get the opportunity this year to bring people like you in, pick your brains, get the opinions that matter the most, because they're coming straight from the community. And also, you will be co-streaming some of the action as well. Is there a team you're actually cheering on? Anyone you're rooting for? Could also just be an individual player?
Yeah, I mean, today I was definitely rooting for Genji. Big fan of Krusty. I wanted to see what he could do in Europe, right? That was a big one. But also, you know, Sakura coming up. Yeah, it's really exciting to see Calling All Heroes players like Hitori make their way into OWCS, and I love to see that.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Little Birdie told me that for this next series, you got your eyes on that tank matchup between Chase and Hitori. I assume we're going to see more Hazard. Which of these two players do you feel has the upper hand?
I would maybe go as far as to say Hitori might, right? And it's really interesting. The Hazard meta, it's been very difficult for some teams, and for other teams, they've benefited a lot, right? I think Hitori, she is really, really good with the Hazard. She also was able to prove that in Calling All Heroes, and she rolled in the qualifiers as well. And then Chase, on the side of the ultimates, especially from what I've heard, they at first, at least a few weeks ago, were struggling with the Hazard compositions. It was a little sloppy. So I want to see if they can improve on that, or maybe if they'll go a different route.
I mean, one thing also Hitori got going for her is that she got the German tank buff. That gets you very far as well. So there is that.
Yes.
Absolutely love that. Let's talk Preds then. While I know many people's hearts will be rooting for Hitori because we got to follow players like Hitori, and actually a lot of the people from Sakura Esports for some time now, the Ultimates, they have to be considered the favorite here, right?
Yes, I do think that the Ultimates have the upper hand. They're a super strong roster. I do think that the Hazard meta is a little difficult for them, but also I've been thinking about it, and especially from what we've seen in Korea recently, honestly, we've seen things where teams are not running Hazard as much, right? Maybe they go with a little bit of Diva, maybe they go with a little Ramatra, and who do you have on the Ultimates? For those heroes, you have KSA, right? So there are options, and you don't always need to stick with the Hazard composition, even though it's super, super strong. So Ultimates, I have them winning 3-1 personally.
Yeah, I have a 3-0 in my head, if you're asking me for the score. It's just like the backline is so stacked, like Twilight and Faith, and like the front line, obviously, like Kai and Kevster. It's really, really hard to vote against them. But we'll see. We'll see what's about to happen on the server. But before we're jumping into that game, I know you like playing games, right? Right?
Yes. Yes.
I need a little tricycle when I like introduce games we play with our guests. We got something fun for you. We all are obviously very excited about hero bans, so we prepared a little game which is called Bandemonium. So I'm going to name a player on either Sakura or the Ultimates along with two of their most iconic heroes, and you just have to shout out which of the two heroes you would ban if you're about to play a game against them. There will be some curveballs thrown in there, and you have an overall of 45 seconds to get through as many as you can. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, hold on with the timer. Hold on. I need to put the sheet up, the prompts. There we go. Okay, I'm ready. OC is ready. Is production ready? Yeah! That was so enthusiastic. Thank you so much, Eric. Okay, Bandemonium. Let's hit that timer right now. Kai, Widowmaker or Sojourn?
Sojourn.
China, Tracer or Pharah?
Tracer, 100%.
Good choice. Hitori, Winston or Ramatra?
Ooh, Winston.
Casters, Jake or Johnny? We have too many J's. One needs to go.
Johnny. Sorry.
Good choice. Right, great choice. Kevster, Tracer or Genji?
Ooh, Genji.
Okay, oh shoot. Juno, Ana or Baptiste?
Ana.
Animals, cats or dogs? Choose wisely.
Cats.
The internet's watching. You banning cats? Okay, KSA,
Oh
Diva
no,
or Moga?
banning cats, no! No!
You banned the cats. You have to actually, it's game over. I think you lost the game just with that hand.
Yeah. I think you got me there. You tricked me. You got me.
I did. Yeah, it was all just one big trick. Although, actually, you would play against the cats, right? So you banned the cats, so you banned the stronger one.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe.
But so actually, you won the game. You won the game. I think we just figured out that you won the game. Let's run with that.
Yeah.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
It was a confusing game for everyone involved. So I'm gonna work on that. It's a work in progress. But thank you so much for joining us for a quick chat. I know you will be co-streaming some of the action too. So very quickly before I let you go, where can people find you and cheer you on?
You can find me, OWCS, over on Twitch if you want to watch me on YouTube. Big YouTube channel. I'm sure some of you watch my videos. I appreciate all of you, and thank you for having me, Zoe.
Of course, we appreciate you too. I can't wait to see you in action on your streams. Now, next up, we have Sakura versus the Ultimates, and to cover all the action, we got Matt and Jack on the mics again. So take it away, friends.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a good game. I like that. Look, we're bringing back the games, Matt, and then we banned Johnny from OWCS. This is perfect.
If anybody goes against Jake, they lose. You know, the chat, they can do any poll with Jake, and he wins every single time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to change that at some point. Come on, man. We've got to root for Johnny at some point. We've already slandered him once today on this broadcast already, Matt, and that was you.
Yeah, Overwatch Homelander. Jake has gone too far. He's gone too far.
He's okay. I don't think he's gone that far. All right, let's have a look at
that far. Pretty far.
Let's have a look at the Sakura roster, though. Zoro, China, Hattori, Strebor, and Prota starting for today.
Yeah, and like they were talking about, Hattori, calling all heroes legend. We've seen great things from her, and then China as well. We saw really strong Trace play from last year. So this is a really nice roster. It's just the roster on the other side is just crazy, right? For the Ultimates, I mean, you kind of look at this roster top to bottom, right? It'll be Sky and Faith in today, right? But you got Twilight on this roster, Chase. I mean, just really strong top to bottom.
And we have Twilight on the bench as well. So yeah, there's always that. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the roster in action. Looks like a hog ban for the Ultimates. Okay, an Avenger ban.
Roadhog pretty dominant in the meta at the moment.
Yeah, pretty good. Sakura Esports banning the Venture. Of course, that's probably a protection pick. I'm going to be honest. Like, we want to protect the Hazard. We want to protect the something. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not sure there's too many things that the tank
for the Ultimates,
on Ultimates can't play.
It's definitely more of like a protect, right? Like, let's protect, like, basically all of the tanks. Like, at that point, right? You can play just about anything once you get Roadhog out of the mix. And then for Sakura Esports, it could also be like, hey, we don't really want to get rid of anything in either pool, right? So let's just kind of, just chuck one out there, just because we have to, and then just get right to it.
All right, let's jump in. Samoa, the first map. The Ultimates versus Sakura Esports. Hog ban on the Ultimate side and the Venture ban on Sakura's side. Yeah, a real star-studded lineup. I'm curious if we're ever actually going to see Twilight. I hope we do. Of course, the Ana GOAT played for San Francisco Shock as well, was on the bench forever, and then would be subbed in randomly for other maps, would dominate, and then go back on the bench. So yeah, there's definitely a chance we see him.
It feels like forever we haven't seen Twilight kind of play, right? When this roster was announced, it was like, wait, Twilight? Like,
yeah,
back. But yeah, we just get perfect. I was gonna say, get those tops flipped, and we're good to go. As it'll actually be just Sakura Esports, right? They'll be running the Curie instead of the Juno, and then they'll also have Tracer in the mix.
Yeah, see, this is the point in time where I'm like, okay, are we ever going to see a Hazard ban, really? Really? At some point, it has to come through.
Well, like Ice Stone's dead. He's just so fun to play. Like, I'm sure the tank players are like, hey, man, like let us just have a little bit of fun, right? Like, let us not play Maga or, not play like a Risa. Like, this character is so fun, hyper aggressive. Keep it in the game.
Oh, okay. Well, KSA going down, not a good start for the Ultimates. Although the point is still going to get capped by them regardless. Hattori's in. She ends up getting the kill onto Kepster, and Sakura, they're going to have to try and get the Ultimates off of the point. A notoriously hard point to actually get the flip on, but they do manage to succeed with that as KSA a little bit too late back.
I was gonna say KSA could have gotten back. You know, if he did get back a little bit faster, you could have actually contested that. But with no Genji, no Hazard, you're not gonna just kind of throw bodies onto the point. As that shot does not connect on the Sherboard, but it'll be Hattori taking out Sky early on. China gets a pick on the Kai, so good things happening here for Sakura Esports early on.
All right, yeah, with Sherboard there, there's no chance to stay alive here at all. Still need to actually get out of it. There comes the wall. KSA in a lot of trouble. And yeah, they're going to be able to hold on to this one quite easily by the looks of it.
Yeah, they do lose 2 players towards the end, so you're going to have a brief window here where the Ultimate's going to have a player advantage.
Well, I mean, Hattori down, Matt, but I mean, this fight is... It's going to continue for quite some time. China also dead. Okay, eventually, yeah. Slippery Hero's dead, so can't contest the point for too much longer.
Yeah, even though the Ultimates lost a few players at the beginning of the last fight and ended up losing it, towards the end it was Kevster and KSA who were able to get some picks. So those 2 kills that they end up getting kind of allows their teammates to get back into the fight, just gives them a little bit of a buffer there, and they use it to push in and take Hattori out first.
Pulse bomb available for China. Although we're faked with this Soundbarrier and Kev with the blade, I mean, you just layer them in pretty easily. Oh, what a stick from China, though. Sky already going down. Oh, Ultimate's actually going to commit to this fight. Kevster is pretty low. Trying to find another pick, but that just might be that. Prota did end up using that rush near onto the side of the point there. And Kai and KSA is still managing to get kills, Matt. But, I mean, the problem is, you lose your tuner that early. Yeah, you're not staying in that fight for much longer.
Yeah, Sakura Esports bounced back in another big way, but just like that, we got another fight here brewing. Is Kempster with a blade here, potentially. Stribor is just trying to hide, get a good use of the sound barrier.
Oh, no, yeah, there's no way KSA. You see KSA was like half leaping away there.
The burst damage is crazy there.
It is ridiculous. Nice deflect kill from Kevster, but this fight is surely over.
And this is definitely a little bit surprising, right? No, OC did mention potentially Ultimate's not the best at the Hazard, right? Maybe don't have that under their belt as good as some of the other different types of compositions you can play out there, but just off of pedigree and talent, right? You would favor the Ultimates regardless of what's going on. But Sakura Esports looking to be very formidable opponent early on here.
Decent damage down from China, trying to look his way into the back line. Soundbarrier ends up coming in for Sakura Esports. He must survive for a little bit longer here, but Hattori's actually the first to fall. I mean, the sound barrier against the Ray, ideally you just want to get away from that using that overhealth, but it's just too much damage if you're sticking around. You need instant kills and instant impact, which is not something Sakura Esports were able to secure. They got 99% though, so they've still got a couple more opportunities to come back in.
Still, I mean, 99% on this point, although it is a little bit scary because you kind of contest this for ages, it seems. If you're Sakura Esports and you were told, like, hey, guess they're going to be at 50%, you're at 99, you have basically like 2 fights with a chance to win the first point, like, you would take that any day of the week, right? You would take those odds. So we'll see. Maybe it's going to be Kitsune Rush is going to turn the tides, but China also with a pulse bomb here coming up. Got a kill with a pulse bomb the last time. Would be huge to open things up, as Faith is just trying to track where he's moving.
Yeah, you got to keep tabs on him. Kevster's already unleashed this blade, though. Can China find the pulse bomb that they require to stay in this fight? Doesn't look like it. Pulse does connect to Sky, but Kevster and Kai have already found kills. It is a 3v3 now on the point, with Faith trying to keep Kevster and Kai alive. But I mean, if you got your Hazard up, that Hazard ain't going down quick, that's for sure. Even if 2 DPS are looking at him as the point flip comes through.
Point flip does come through. Kevster here, though, being able to stall this for a second. You're going to get KSA back into the fight. Faith as well on the other side.
I mean, with Kev dead, I mean, Hattori just playing doorkeeper right now, playing bouncer. And can KSA stay up? No, doesn't look like they can. Zorro with a quick railgun shot does end their life. And there's the first round. A little downpour to finish it off.
Yeah, downpour backs them up through the choke. So it was China actually who does come through there in that fight. Like we were kind of setting up, talking about. Comes through with 2 kills, one with a pulse bomb, another kill there, just kind of cleaning it up. Towards the end is the Tracer from China pays off, gives Sakura Esports that first point.
All right, I can't imagine we're going to see too many crazy changes coming into this next map, but you never know. Curious if Prota is going to continue on the Kiriko. Kiriko Juno's been a bit of a toss-up recently. Feels like a little bit more preference than anything else at this moment in time, although the Ray is still so strong.
So we'll see China just use a TP here potentially. Yep, now go over and play Tracer. So It's been the biggest difference here, right? Tracer Kiri versus the Genji and the Juno. So China, every time with the pulse bombs, definitely come up clutch here early on. We'll see, though, with the Sojourns, right, controlling some of this high ground, who can get the better of that duel.
Ultimates have a nice spot on the point. Well, Kevster does at the very least. Hitori is like 1 HP. She does manage to get away. And Kevster eventually being checked. Oh, China, a little bit of a tag team action there. Zoro peeking his head in, same with China, and they managed to take down Kevster, who's in a nice spot, stopping a lot of people actually showing presence on the point. Now China, yeah. I mean, that block, unfortunately, for the Hazard only works one way.
Yeah, I mean, if it worked out all the way, I mean, that character would just be even sillier. But it'll be Sakura Esports who takes control here first yet again. So really taking it to the Ultimates. When you look at the Ultimates team, right, this is a team that should dominate EMEA. Sakura Esports showing that they're not going to be an easy out in any of these regular season games.
China just permanently in the back line right now.
Yeah.
They're doing it, forcing the recall, but it's so close to a pulse bomb. Proto TPing towards Suzu as well, lay it on top, keeping Hitori alive. Even that rush being used on the point too. Zoro does end up going down, but still, Sakura Esports are in control of the point, and they're just pushing the Ultimates to their very limit right now. KSA going down, and wow, this is looking a lot more Sakura Esports favored than I initially anticipated.
Even like how you mentioned, right? China just putting pressure on the backline, gets a pulse bomb kill here, but it's just taking away resources, potentially keeping like KSA or Kevster up, right? As the supports are just desperately trying to keep each other alive with the pressure that's coming through from the Tracer.
Well, right from Sky now, they've got that their advantage. But Hitori can lay down this ult pretty easily on this point, although maybe looking for something extra. Does end up diving in. Here comes the orbital rate on the point. They're going to downpour. He's going to catch Kai, but can Kai stay alive? Somehow, some way, Sky's able to heal him through it. That's an orbital ray definitely aiding in that one. Even Faith dropping that sound barrier too. Eventually, the Ultimates are going to be able to win a fight here, Matt.
Yeah, they end up matching the sound barriers here, right? So Strayboard throws his in for Sakura Esports, and they don't actually kind of get any value from it, right? But with all these support ultimates off the table, Proto could potentially start to farm up this Kitsune rush, right? Have a little bit of a window of opportunity where maybe you have a rush in combination. I know with maybe even, well, I mean, just the rush with our Tracer, right? Pretty strong, right? I know being able to just put down lots of damage. Don't really have any other ultimates you can kind of combo with it, but still, having the rush versus nothing would be quite strong. This is going to be a blade, though, but because you don't have any sound barrier, no way to respond.
Yeah, I mean, there's an easy kill there for Kevster. Even forces the Suzu out as well of Proto. Still needs the kill regardless, though. Although maybe chasing them away is more than enough. Looks like a little swift step. And the Lucio should die too. Wow, that point was so close to being flipped as well. Good on ultimates there, keeping that one alive.
Yes, now they're starting to build up a little bit of momentum, right? This will be an interesting fight, though, coming up next, right? Overclock Pulse Bomb, potentially a Kitsune Rush here for Sakura Esports for the Ultimates. Like, if that Kitsune Rush comes out, right, do you downpour? You can answer, in return with your own Overclock as well. This will be Zoro using the Overclock early. It'll be responded by Kai's.
Yeah, Hitori's already dead, though. Now Kai has basically free reign over the battlefield. Doesn't really need to fear anything because the rest of his team are going to dive with him. And Sakura Esports, they've relied on China's pulse bomb a couple of times now and securing a kill onto Sky, but can they make it happen again as the Ultimate is now approaching OT?
These fights are taking so long to develop, though, right? For Sakura Esports is they haven't even been, it's like, what, 2 fights, almost 3, have not been able to build up towards the Kitsune Rush. Hitori maybe has gained like 20% in ult charge in that time. Just players just getting mowed down there by the Ultimates.
China, yeah, whiffs the pulse bomb sadly, which just pressured out too much there. It couldn't even survive with a recall intact. Sound barrier, orbital ray, sorry, from Sky should keep them in this fight. Faith does end up falling though before that orbital ray ends up connecting. And here comes the downpour. They're already locked in place. Hitori under the pavilion right now has just been forced out. China does kill Sky, not with a pulse bomb, just with the pulse pistols this time around, but forced to recall straight into a wall and might just find their demise at the hands of Kevster, but looks like the round's going to be over before that even happens. The Ultimates do end up tying this map up.
Even though they lose Faith as he's approaching a sound barrier, the orbital ray, just in terms of what it can provide, is still so strong. Hitori just got to use the block, just trying to hide on the point as Hazard extremely low, and the Ultimates just kind of push it through and clean it up. So much better look from the Ultimates there in a second point. That's probably, you know, typically what we expect to see from them, right? Playing at this extremely high level with these players. As Sakura Esports potentially hovering over a little bit of a change. This has been quite interesting.
Okay, we've seen Malga banned earlier today. I didn't expect we'd see. I didn't expect Malga to be played at all. Well, close to, well, not at all, but close to 0%. They
continue with the
so strong
as
right
well. So some big changes here, right? Sojourn in the support stay in the mix, but they're playing a little bit more around this Maga, a little bit more brawly, right? These fights with the Maga in the sim, like, you're fine if they go extended, right? You want these kind of like death ball fights that are all together and they actually take out Faith early on, really separated from the team.
Oh, China's dead to Kai's Railgun. This sim's gonna have a tough time finding a lot of value, although pretty easy to kind of charge up in the front line, but against the comp ultimates are running, not exactly where you want to be. Good stomp there. Kai was getting booped around there, and that wasn't him sliding. That was just the Malga and the Lucio just kind of bopping him.
Well, and with these comps that are built on a lot of this burst damage as KSA goes in, deals with Zoro, like having the Maga, right, the cardiac overdrive plus some of the health, right, it can kind of prevent some of that bursty nature. And the longer these fights go with the Sim and the Maga, you just start to ramp, right? You just start to ramp and ramp and ramp. So it's like, can you use some of these big abilities here to keep the team alive around the Maga and then just win a battle of attrition, right? Just lasting longer by just having the larger HP pools to play with.
Yeah, my guy's just shooting in the front line as well. Hattori, she's just dominated. Like, the Malga is so ridiculous sometimes, Matt. Because Malga, what did he do? He just sit there and shoot. Like, it's so, and then Hazard's like jumping around and stuff. It's just such a funny like dichotomy of heroes, right? It's the complete opposite.
If you didn't know, you wouldn't even think they're in the same like role, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you were just new, like you'd just be like, wait, well, these two characters are trying to do the same thing. It's like, it's so yeah, kinda
the same thing, but not really.
Yeah.
All right, Hattori, she's got the ultimate coming up soon as well, and KSA. If KSA gets trapped in there, I mean, good luck. Hattori also just jumps on in. Faith gets booped up, and Faith instantly dies. I mean, that's the orbital raid for you. And now Hattori, oh, she ends up actually going down to Kai's Railgun. Okay, overextension there, but Sakura Esports still 80% on the board.
Yeah, Ultimate's gonna have absolutely everything to work with here coming up, but this is a must-win fight, right? If you're Sakura Esports, if you can get back together as a group, start to, invest pretty heavily, you have a chance to basically end the game here, Jack. I mean, 88% is a lot. It's gonna be overclock here used from Zoro.
Yeah, oh, downpour. Oh, the blade ends up coming in as well, but Kepsa, doesn't really want to deal with that overhealth. Does end up getting the mega health back, but Sky is already down. It's looking good for Sakura Esports as they can play behind this sim wall as well. I mean, this is just going to be a win here. Ultimates, the numbers are falling, and they're falling fast. Faith is alive. It's got the beat in about 5%, but it is all Sakura Esports right here, Matt. They do end up foregoing the point for a brief moment, so there could be an additional touch from the Ultimates, but this is not looking pretty.
Well, you have a cage fight here from Hattori. She can just kind of like play up close. Maybe we're able to catch a few players inside of it.
Oh, goodbye,
actually
Kepster.
Drops on the point, and it looks like they just catch Kepster, which is totally fine.
Yep, sound barrier doesn't end up coming in, but you're in a 4v5. Hattori's in the front line now. Does end up getting just kind of disintegrated by Kai's Railgun. Another touch here for the DPS, but can they survive long enough? These turrets, honestly, are doing just a heavy amount of lifting right now for China. Kai was unable to pay attention to them, and they end up just vaporizing him, and that'll be Sakura Esports securing map 1.
I mean, that is a bit of a curveball here at the beginning of this series. I think everybody would have expected the Ultimates, right? Well, we heard from OC and Soe, 3-0, 3-1, respectively. Sakura Esports comes out, and I know they play a really interesting comp there towards the end. It definitely was effective against the Hazard on the other side. You may need to start thinking about, like, okay, like, do we need to start like banning things for real at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey. Did you ban the Hazard? Did you ban the Malga, sorry? Maybe that's something you're going to do this
could you ban
Tracer,
map? Right? If you're the Ultimates, right? Get the Tracer out of China's hands if he wants to play that pretty consistently, right? We didn't see any Genji there from Sakura Esports, so that could be an avenue as well.
There's a lot of avenues they can go. I mean, yeah, China's done just does so much work on the Tracer. It was kind of known for the Tracer regardless, right? And this is the kind of meta that you want to see China in, being able to pick that one up. But in the pick and ban, with the ban, sorry, can be a little bit more tough, you know, sticking to that one hero. But do you really want to just sling a ban over towards China for a map? We'll have to wait and see. Of course, it will be the Ultimate's map choice here, Matt, as well.
Yeah, but do you want to just like ban the hazard right away if you're the Ultimates? I mean, that doesn't really feel like good, right? You kind of would then see the hazard pretty consistently throughout the rest, right? Maybe there's a world in which you ban Maga, right? Eliminate options other than hazard if you feel like you can still kind of win that mirror. You know, take those away. So a lot of different ways they can go here with the bans coming up. But Sakura Esports definitely a pleasant surprise there. In map number 1, I think some of the teams probably looking through their schedule were like, yeah, we'll be able to get by them. Like, you know, maybe, you know,
yeah, I'll be all right.
A chill week. I don't know about that anymore. I mean, that was a pretty good performance.
All right, Dorado is the map pick here for Ultimates. So what do you think about bans here if you're the Ultimate?
A lot of high ground, a lot of verticality, right? So this almost like Tracer's not really good here, right? So you can almost like kind of like, if you were like, oh, we're going to ban Tracer, like you can almost do that by picking Dorado, right? Because it's a map that traditionally like is not good for Tracer whatsoever, right? So maybe this opens up an opportunity. You wouldn't think to ban hazard here, right? Because there's also a lot of high ground where maybe can you even play Maga here, right? With the amount of verticality. So it gives the Ultimates a lot of flexibility in what they want to do in terms of bans.
Yeah, they could go for a little protection pick as well, or a protection ban. Just protect one of their roles. We saw Mag on Wrecking Ball earlier. Something that maybe they could do. Chase, obviously, very well known for their Winston too. So a lot of options here for Dorado. It's still like a divey map, but especially on second, or like pushing out of the first doors, you see the massive stairwell now, or the staircase, which leads up the high ground. So a little bit easier for these kind of rush comps. We do see Chase subbing in for KSA. So
this could be your Winston, like you were talking about.
Yeah, this is a Winston-y kind of thing. Yeah,
this could be like a hazard ban. Let's play Winston, right? We know they probably can't play a ton of Tracer here. You feel like Chase maybe has an advantage over Hitori in terms of the Winston battle. So that could be the path that the Ultimates wants to take here in map number 2.
We'll have to wait and see as we jump on in to this next map. This is Dorado pick, and we'll see as the teams are now just submitting their bans. It will be Wrecking Ball. Okay, Ultimates ban Wrecking Ball first, and then Sakura actually banned Kiriko in the backline.
So it seems like the Ultimates going with a bit of a route where they're kind of using some of the Ultimates to more like protect certain roles in this case. I'll say, so the Ultimates actually banned Kiri. So the Ultimates banned Kiri, so that's actually flipped. So they actually don't go with a tank ban. Interesting enough that it's Sakura Esports who ends up going with the Wrecking Ball ban, but the Kiri we did see played by Sakura Esports, right? That was like the main difference. They're playing Kiri with the Tracer, and the Ultimates played that Juno the entire time. So getting rid of the Kiri is one direct ban coming off of map number 1. Right.
Okay. Do you know Tracer then, or Ana even here for Ultimates? If they ban the Kiriko here, it could leave an Ana open for Ultimates too. So we could be seeing Twilight come in. Oh no, we've just seen the subs already. So yeah, that's true. Damn it. Okay, I was hoping we did, but
like I don't believe Twilight's in the game until we like until it's physically on the screen and the game has begun. Like that's.
I was so happy to see him back, man. Twilight, my goat, my Ana goat. We'll have to see if he does end up playing this season. I hope he does. Of course, it doesn't mean to say that we won't see a little bit of Ana here as well. Another very powerful support pick currently. But as we jump into the game, we'll have to wait and see what the teams want to roll out on. No Wrecking Ball, but Chase in. We're going dive here for the Ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, no Kiri in the mix, right? So the Ana could even be stronger, right? Ana pretty good on high ground, so see if there's maybe a little bit of an Ana pick that comes out here from the Ultimates.
Surely. I saw a little bit of Doomfist on the spawn. We did get a Doomfist ban earlier. That was a map 1 ban at the very top of the day. But Ultimates are on the the offense here, not on the defense. We'll get those little signs swapped around. But Sky on the Ana, wouldn't be too surprised to see that. But Sakura, yeah, just kind of what you expect here. No Juno, though. It will be the Ana instead.
Yeah, so looking at now when that support ban comes through, right? Juno potentially an option, but the Ana with the high ground. Ana also pairs extremely well with the Winston, right? So it'll be the ultimate on offense. They'll be playing the Winston. That's kind of what we thought when they bring Chase into the game here. But Sakura Esports, they'll actually commit to the hazard. So curious how these two things kind of clash against each other.
All right, Kevster on the Tracer. And yeah, just a classic kind of dive comp here for ultimates, but a holy one clip. All right, well, trying to kill Kai. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, extremely fast.
Trying to get out?
I know.
He does.
Looked like he
Nice.
almost wasn't going to be able to make it out, but gets him Proto's line of sight, gets him huge healing. The Tracer, still, especially when you want to play some of this like long-range hit scan, right? Whether you know, Widow really at the start and now Kai playing the Sojourn, the Tracer could be really disruptive.
Oh, that doesn't kill. Okay, I was like, ooh, that was close. Nice dive so far from China. Chase struggling to get up into this high ground, but Victoria is pretty low. She's not going to get out either. Yeah, no, Kai's going to chase that up. And DPS Basso coming in clutch there for the ultimate.
Yeah, we'll see how much space he'll get off this. A sick sleep there from Proto. Has the nade there towards the end, but looks like actually the wake up from the sleep happens and the bubble comes in from Chase, kind of blocks the benefits of the anti-heal that would have came through from the bio grenade. So Chase able to stay alive here. Sky working closer and closer towards end Nano, but it's already going to be available for Proto.
Yeah, another dive in here from Chase. Nano boost available, like you said. You need to apply to Zora if you need to. Oh, Zora, I think, was it maybe inside that bubble? Unfortunate there. Proto still with the nano boost. Another good sleep onto the Winston. It's not going to survive all too long, though. A good nade to the front line. Can't get the nano off in time. And now Chase is going to separate the rest of that healing. Coming from the Lucio with that bubble in the front line. Hitori still, and Stubble take down Sky and Faye. So the Ultimates right now with no backup, no heals, no support at all. So they're getting out. There's 2 minutes to go in the Ultimates. They've been struggling to get it up this point. And Sakura still have nano.
It's just the pressure that Hitori and China in combination can put on the backline. It makes it really difficult, even with the Brig in the mix, to be able to stay alive, right? You're trying to protect Skyrip at all costs. Now, if the Brig is not able to do that with this pressure from the Tracer, it's going to be very difficult. And now look at this. Keps are going to play Tracer here as well with a Pulse Bomb.
Oh, that nade into the backline.
Yeah.
3-person bio, good sleep though, stops the aggression. However, they're still going to back up. Can't mess with that hazard. He can one-shot regardless of the amount of nano or not, bro. So, yeah, you don't want to mess with that again. Chase with a Primal Rage. Gets slept again, instantly woken up. A nice little wall, though, is going to waylay Chase for the time being as the sound barrier comes in for Sakura. Zoro is coming back from spawn in just a moment in a perfectly placed bubble. Kevster, Chase chasing up Prota. Hitori finally felled as the Ultimates. It's been struggle street, man, but they're still making it work. A minute to go, and they're going to get this first point.
Yeah, that would have been almost impossible there for Sakura Esports to win, right? They're putting pressure on the backline. Faith with a rally, right? So he's going to give all the benefits of that to Sky and Kai, who ends up having the overclock rolling. And it's just a great dive combination there from Chase and Kepster. We actually catch. It takes out Proto. So
that's unfortunate.
Really nice combination there towards the end, and then losing a Tori here. I mean, that is quite brutal, right? This is going to allow Ultimates to gain some space. Also going to give them sick high ground control, right? I mean, they're just staggering. These players are just going to gain so much progress off of this.
That was a stagger and a half there from Chase and Kevster. Good follow-up, too, just knowing how far they can push Sakura Esports after Hitori dies. She's going to get back here, but like you said, now Sky and everybody else have this high ground control, and Sky's nearing on another nano.
I mean, you're going to have high ground control, and you're also going to be able to, like, kind of control this underpass where this, where the car kind of moves through this bridge.
Oh, good nade.
This is the most important part to control here of this high ground.
Chase doesn't press the issue here. Railgun. Oh, that shield is so low. Nano boost onto Chase, though. As Zoro falls to the ground there, out of LOS of his supports, although it wouldn't have survived too long anyway. Chase does end up getting bio-naded, but still with the Primal Rage, might just want to continue this one. Sleep Dart not available by the looks of it, as Prota ends up falling over to Chase's Primal Rage once again. 2 minutes to go, as it is a bit of a trade of the backlines, Matt. A very traditional dive way of life. Here is the Ultimates are now trying to kill Hitori, who once again, who's just been kind of caught out, pushed away from her backline, as the Ultimates now finally finding their footing in this map.
Yeah, but are you going to be able to touch this again here for Sakura Esports? They chase down China, so Kepser, with some help there from Chase, able to deal with that Tracer yet again as they're starting to put the pressure on the Sakura Esports, and Sakura Esports seems to be breaking at the hands of it. Hittori extremely low ramp. Somehow kills Kai.
Yeah, Nanode, just one-shot Kai there with the shotgun. Kevster, I was going to mention Kevster there a second ago. He's still got a pulse bomb in hand. Ends up taking down Prota and okay, Zoro. Yeah, dead too. All right, a classic Kevster carry there on the Tracer.
Well, what's also interesting is like this map is not historically a good Tracer map, right? Like, you know, this is a map with like a lot of the verticality where even when Tracer is in meta, we'd see teams kind of move away from it at times, but both teams opting to go with the Tracer, and Kepster in great combination with Chase, just collapsing on these weak targets, killing them basically instantly. But Chase takes a load of damage, not able to jump out. Tried to jump out with the bubble, save himself, but Zoro with a nice shot there finishes him off. So that's going to stop some of the progress there for the Ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of the best to ever do it, let's be real. Can't really argue that at all. Pulse bomb in the hands of China. They still have Rally. They got the downpour. Sakura Esports in a good spot. Pulse bomb, unfortunately, going a little wide though. So that's one arc down, 2 more to go.
We'll see now. Potentially, working over towards this overclock. Also worth noting, Trevor ends up using the
downfall
Rally here as they actually decided. I don't know if that downfall actually hit anything.
It didn't.
Looks like players just kind of got out of LOS.
Yeah, Faith was like chilling. Same with Sky. Pops the Rally, hits the shield back, and Hattori dead again. Oh, good whip shot onto Zoro. Hattori kind of being a maker right now as the Ultimates just taking full advantage of the aggression that Sakura Esports are throwing at them currently. And look at the ult bank for Ultimates as well, Matt.
So we'll see now as they push them back towards the door, right? I mean, you can use whether it be the Primal first, then kind of channel into a Nano. They actually use a Nano here on a Kai, actually. He's actually getting dove here.
Oh, no.
Put down some sick
with
good
the luck.
Overclock.
Yeah, good luck.
Out of the spawn there.
Nano, Overclock, Primal Rage at the spawn doors. Yeah, you can't win that. You cannot win that. The Ultimates do end up full capping, but still, Sakura Esports really push them to the limit there. 1 minute and 11 seconds. A nice little rounded time back there for the Ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, that is just a brutal way for Sakura Esports to kind of lose that one, right? They were playing pretty good defense there at the start, and then once the Ultimates were able to get some of those stackers on that second point, get to the high ground, and then push on through, there was just no stopping them after that. The suite of Ultimates they had at the end as well, just no way you're battling back from that. So Sakura Esports, they have a big hill to climb here on offense now.
We'll see what the defense looks like for Ultimates, but yeah, I can't imagine they're going to change anything up. Just go and pure dive. That's what they do best, especially when Chase is in the roster. And speaking of the roster as a whole as well, Matt, of course, Kai and Kev, they are the only DPS on the team, but KSA and Chase, two very kind of different hero pools. So they have, especially if you look at the year as a whole and with the ban system, the hero ban system, they've got a lot of depth they can play with. Like KSA is a formidable off-tank player, playing Malga to an extremely high level. Chase extremely good on these dive heroes. So yeah, their roster is extremely well-rounded. Not exactly something that you can scoff at one bit, and Sakura Esports kind of feeling their wrath at the very end there.
Yeah, also, it's a bit of a wake-up call, like map number 1, right? You end up losing that there for the Ultimates, and it's like, okay, we need to kind of come in here with our A game, right?
Right.
We need to take this to another level where you are going to get their best play here in map number 2 for Sakura Esports. So shouldn't be a surprise to them. More of the Ultimates kind of now picking up their games. Prota in a really tough spot up on the high ground. Oh, barely makes it out.
It's hard for Hattori to stay around here as well. Sure, you can clamber the walls over and over again, but if you're doing that, you're looking at Kai, Sky's also looking at you. Like, it's really tough to stay around, and then Winston can just continually hold the high ground. It's what you want if you're Zoro right now. You want to at least put pressure on Kai so he can't free peek.
Yeah, that's true. Zoro trying to get towards that high ground yet again is Chase has done a great job controlling this, right? We see time and time again teams try and control this high ground on the defensive side to prevent this, right? Zoro getting free access to it and shooting across that range, where if Chase can get up there and just be present, right? Doesn't even really need to kill anybody. Just do what he's doing right there, right? put Strebor down to the low ground, then just sit up here, wait, kind of do it all again. That's a huge win there in itself for the Ultimates.
Chase dodging the sleep there. You hear that little cooldown come out. Hattori, she's managed to get the payload onto the bridge. So, okay, this is big moves here from Sakura Esports. So, Ultimates cannot stay around that high ground position, play the same game they've been playing for the last couple of minutes. They have to back up now, rearrange their pieces, and eventually make their way to the fountain area. Kevster with a pulse one, forced to recall, but had faith it is back just for some help. Nice sleep onto Chase, but won't last long. Anti-nade, though, will make sure Chase has to get out of there. Even with the nano applied, you don't want to mess with that.
You do have the nano here for Proto, though. We'll see it actually put on Hattori. She tries to jump into the background. Actually looks like she gets a boot back, potentially. Gets knocked back there by Faith with like a whip shot. So not going to allow the nano on the Hazard to get into the backline, cause chaos. So that nano there for Sakura Esports goes for nothing.
Yeah, that's what we call in the biz a rough one. Serbor's got the sound barrier there, Matt, but Faith with the rally coming up. Hattori's in the backline right now, but what backup does she have? A stick is good though, but no, it's blocked completely. I believe that was probably Faith's shield. Eventually taken down though on a stick onto Prota. I mean, Kevster. Different years, same star player. Just an absolute beast on the Tracer, making Prota's life a living hell. A minute and 20 seconds to go as Chase survives on the point with that Primal Rage. And the Ultimates, yeah, making map number 1 look like a fluke right now.
They're making it look easy here on Dorado, especially now. Sakura Esports, they don't really have anything great to work with, right? I mean, Zoro could end up using this overclock, but not great line of sights here, right? Being stuck at the choke and then the long range and all the cover that the Ultimates can play around. Ultimates with double support ult as well as we head under a minute to go. Looking in a fantastic spot to get a first point hold here on map number 2.
Rally, Nano, they've got OC, like the overclock's just going to go crazy here for Kai, but oh no, quickly taken down by Zoro. I'll eat my own words, shall I? Nano boost onto Faith, who's got the rally, Matt. Yeah, good luck. A good little sleep though is actually going to hold the progress of the Brigitte. Prota actually going a little bit aggressive here with the rest of their team as Hattori and Prota double up there and kill Faith. Okay, Sakura Esports, they might just be able to cap this first point, but they still need to kill Kevster. Eventually brought down by Zoro. There's still a couple of lingering members. Looks like Chase has managed to get out of there. OT swiftly approaching.
Yeah, Chase had to back up, was extremely low, gets the bio on the way in, and then China with a pulse bomb is this looks like the first point take here for Sakura Esports. So Ultimates with a very good first point hold takes them down to the wire. They're potentially not going to get staggered here as well, as you see Hattori trying to take some of this high ground, right? This was so effective for the Ultimates on their side that Sakura Esports wants to mimic it, but the Ultimates should be able to battle up for this high ground, right? See an angle potentially here, you know, Kevster just trying to work his way around as Chase jumps right to the high ground.
Kevster looking for a pulse on target, but Faith's already dead. Oh, pulse bomb on the side of the shield there. Prota's still pretty low. Hattori handily dealing with the front line. Yeah, pretty scary character, Hazard, they say.
Chase tries to like jump away and run away, but he uses leap to get to the high ground. Doesn't realize that, like, you know, Hazard has like 3 leaps in the same amount of time. Just chases him down. So this is where they can make up some time, Sakura Esports. It's going to be really difficult to match the time in terms of the Ultimates, but you can make up a little bit of time here potentially.
Can Proto actually stay alive long enough? That's the question. All right, Kevster's killed Strebor. Nano boost in the hands of Prota. Oh, got to get out of there. Kevster escapes alive with a minute and 20 seconds, Matt, and a lot of Ultimates coming up for Ultimates right now. Sakura Esports, maybe using their sound barrier early would be good for them. Just run over the backline.
The biggest thing is like they're being fought up on the high ground, right? The Ultimates doing a nice job playing for this high ground. You see this angle that Zoro has to play from now. Chase constantly doing this, right? Jumping up, taking that space, pushing them around the corner, doing a tremendous job of not allowing Sakura Esports to get in anything.
Hattori?
What is this? A Hattori flank?
Okay, I mean, she's going to get an angle, but Prota's dead with Nano. Yeah. 45 seconds to go. Overclock comes out for Kai. Chase has gone down, but the spawn positions are pretty close, and Kai handily dealing with that 1v1 with Hattori on the point. There's 2 support ultimates for Sakura Esports, but that's given Ultimates enough time to build up to a nano of their own.
I like the idea there from Hattori, and she gets around on a flank and ends up taking out Chase. Just takes a a little bit long, and I think also Ultimates realize like the hazard's nowhere. They push up a little bit, they get that first kill, and then it's really difficult to kind of fight from this spot. So Proto with this nano boost still. Pulse bomb there, doesn't connect with anything from Kevs.
Nano boost, oh, what a sleep! Oh no, got woken up by Chase! Should be good though, at least for the time. Chase taking a lot of damage though. Well, I say good, I meant the complete opposite of that actually. What a sleep onto Zoro. That right click from Chase was, I guarantee you, was flying through the air exactly the same time as that sleep dart there. That is rather unlucky, but Sakura Esports with a double support ultimate usage, they do get it done.
Kev's still blurred.
Kev is, they know.
Also because they were running the brig in the last round a little bit on defense. On offense, they wanted to, obviously the speed with the Lucio kind of play a little bit aggressive. So Kevster does not have to worry at all, like going for that back line, right?
Oh, what a stick from China.
Sick.
All right, okay. The Primal Rage, though, for Chase does net 2, and it's both supports of Sakura, so this will be a reset. Not sure you can stay around too long. But Chase ends up going down, so they're still able to gain the space and actually secure it too, so they don't have to back too far up, knowing Chase is dead now.
And even though this might be an ultimate win in terms of maps, Sakura Esports definitely has hung in here. And then now you look at some of the bans, some of the stuff available. This series still has the potential to go for a pretty long time, as Sky, though, with the nano. Does it go on to Kai? Does it go on to Chase? Both viable options here, even Faith as well if they go in deep. But no, it's going to be Chase getting the benefits of the nano. The bio grenade actually connects over the top. So we saw it a little bit there. Sky, gives the nano over to Chase and then kind of throws the bio deep, almost from spawn. Connects with 2 players there as he jumps in. That is sick.
Yeah, dirty nade angle there, and that will be Sakura Esports halted in their tracks with Faith using a rally in the spawn doors. The Ultimates on their map pick of Dorado are going to secure that map.
Yeah, so the Ultimates, we knew they would battle back. This wasn't going to be a series where they were just going to kind of roll over and die. Sakura Esports and gonna have to earn this one, right? They do it in map number 1. They put up a really good fight. They win it in the end. The Ultimates here, though, they bounce back in a really big way. I'm curious now what Sakura Esports decides to do, and then also the impact the band's gonna have on this, right? They were playing a lot of the Curie early on. Dorado is a map that definitely favors Ana. It's not as great for Tracer, although we did see a play there throughout, so maybe we see teams go back to the Genji. But curious what they could do with the bans here and just map selection that would throw the Ultimates another curveball.
I'm just saying, like, it's a different year, Matt. It's 2025, but Kevster is still frying on the Tracer. I mean, we know, like, longevity of players. If you look back way back when, like Apex days, 2016, 2017, etc., like, some of those players are still playing, man. And there have been players that have come and gone as the years have gone by, but Kevster is one of those guys. Like, he is still messing with the best, like, and he is still up there in one of the best Tracer players to touch the game. And yeah, it's just it's so sick to see him still work it.
I mean, Kai and Kipster, like, it almost always feels this well. Like, whenever we've watched them over the years, we obviously know how sick they are, but like, you can probably name, or just count on your hand the amount of times they've had a bad game, right? Like, these players are so consistent, game in and game out over the course of their entire careers, right? It's really difficult to do. I know you can, and when we do see them kind of lack, it's like a huge shock, right? Because it almost never happens.
Right.
Colosseo to pick here for Sakura Esports, so that's definitely throwing a little bit of a curveball in the mix.
Okay, I was kind of secretly betting in my head, like, okay, how long until we actually see a Colosseo? Okay, now we're talking Matt's language, little parlay.
No. The fact that you were definitely thinking about this, right? This was definitely top of mind for you.
Yes, okay. How do you know what's going on in my head, Matt?
You're feeding your fish this morning, or messing up your chair and desk. You're like, you know what, Colosseo could be in today.
I messed up my desk and it won't go back up now. I have to reset after the broadcast. Okay, we're just gonna get that out of the way. That's why I'm sitting down. Okay, Matt, at least not slumped in my chair, bro, like a come on, stand up, get your back straight.
I have elite gamer posture. This is the
elite gamer posture. Matt almost going goblin mode.
Tier 1 gaming posture.
Tier 1. You barely get our diamond, Matt. All right, Colosseo is the map up next. I was curious when we're actually going to see this, because Esperanza historically, and Runasafi as well, which unfortunately is not in the map pool, has historically been the more popular of the two maps. So yeah, Colosseo from Sakura Esports, it's their chance to ban first here as well. So are we going to see a Tracer ban, Matt? Or which also limits China's hero pool, which is kind of frustrating, or are we going to see maybe a Hazard ban?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right, for Sakura Esports. I don't think you would want to get rid of Tracer because China seems to want to play that constantly. Right. Even in the supports, it seems like Judo, Kiri, Lucio seems to be all in like their wheelhouse. So you're not going to ban something like a Brig, right? You're not going to play like a Brig here. Potentially, like Sojourn in play. Another hero in the mix, right? Where it also seems like for Sakura Esports, like why ban like the Maga or the Hazard? Like it seems like I mean, if you were gonna ban a tank for Sakura Esports, it'd almost be to like protect the tank role rather than a target one, at least it seems. So maybe that second DPS slot.
Yeah, just getting word in now that actually Sakura are banning Sojourn as their ban for this one. So, okay. So you're banning Sojourn here, not banning the Tracer, like you mentioned, probably wise. Don't want to limit China too much because China extremely competent on the Tracer. And it looks like a Hazard ban from the Ultimates.
Well, they saved this, right? So they banned Roadhog earlier, right? We saw them ban Roadhog, which kind of protected that tank role for a map. So now it gives them an opportunity here to ban the Hazard. I'm curious if we'll see any subs here for the Ultimates, at least with Hazard gone. Yeah, so they'll stay in with Chase, potentially another Winston. I'm curious for Sakura Esports, right? Getting the Sojourn out of the mix, does that take like hit scan type characters off the table completely, right? Like, is there no Ashe here? Is there no Cassidy? And is this like Tracer Genji, right? Like, what is the look you're trying to go with?
All right, let's look how they're going to play. Because if you're keeping Chasing as well, you're just going to want to play a little bit more dive here. Ultimates don't fancy themselves in a map that's a little bit more front to back, you know? You aren't like perma-diving high ground as Winston over and over again, unless you're around that second point. Like, especially the mid-fight is extremely important. So banning the Hazard and giving Chase a little bit of a reprieve from that makes a lot of sense here, I think, from the Ultimates. Chase hovering the Wrecking Ball right now. Kai, long-range hit scan, exactly where you want him to be. Kevstar on the Tracer, or literally anything. And it looks like Hattori, she's going over towards D.Va.
Yeah, so we've seen Chase play the ball in the past. Interesting that we'll see like Ashe versus Cassidy. The sightline here on the first point definitely feels like it favors Ashe specifically, right? I know the long sightlines here on Colosseo has even favored characters like Hanzo in the past, right? So I think this definitely plays into what the Ultimates want picking this comp.
Sakura Esports, so on the other hand, Matt, like they're just going the anti-ball. Like they wanted to be able to hinder the ball as much as possible, matrix as many shots as possible from Kevstar and the Wrecking Ball. Like very much, we don't want to play against Wrecking Ball, the comp, as they do end up controlling the point. Although unfortunately, that's a kunai to the face as China ends up going down as they are putting a whole lot of attention on Chase.
Yeah, I mean, they're desperately trying to get Chase to stop, just being a nuisance in the backline, right? And also at the turn to that is Zoro. So, but I mean, look at what Zoro has to deal with, right? Chase coming from one angle, Kevstar another. You also have to worry about Kai at range, so you have to try and protect
Zoro. No!
Protect the backline. So somehow they're able to keep him up. That's fantastic support work here from Sakura.
Yeah, the support, Matt, I'm just telling you right now, it's probably one of the more stressful things to play against the Wrecking Ball, because it's slamming you, slamming the backline, and like, oh, they've called no Magne, by the way, and they've definitely called no Suzu, so now comes the damage. Yeah, there you go. Instantly, Zora gets taken down. Unfortunately, Cassidy doesn't have multiple Magnades, or flashbangs, sorry. Not Magnades.
I mean, you're eventually going to run out of some of these resources, or it's going to, get forced out, right, over time. Sakura Esports, they do a nice job hanging around in this fight early on, but they actually don't really kind of get any kills per se, right? Like they just kind of live, which actually might end up being like the worst option, right? Their just health bars are just getting wilted down over time, and then they're really not building towards any progress or any ultimates at that rate. So good start here for the ultimates.
All right, Mines, rush, beat, pulse bomb. All right, well, we'll see what Ultimates can do. Zoro is checking every angle possible, Matt. Please, someone help my mans. Okay, straight to the back line for Zoro, though. Maybe just got to take the fight to them. Nice little headshot onto Kai, but can now he deal with this Lucio? A high noon popped, getting a little bit of a reset. Pulse bomb landed at Zoro's feet, but managed to just roll away from it. Sky fell by China, but here comes Kevster. Yeah, and against the Wrecking Ball as well, Matt. You are just getting booped all around, all over the place, and Kevster can just run you down. But recalling straight into a pulse of China, not exactly what Kevster wanted to do. But as these fights also break down, Matt, because everybody's trading back and forth, it gives the Ultimates and Sakura Esports as well, to be fair, time to re-engage, and this bot doesn't really move at all.
And I'm curious for your opinion, right? When you're going against this like ball type of comp, is the, obviously ball is always a threat, but is it a little bit of a bait, right? Like, should you kind of like, okay, let's like deal with the ball, like don't let him get and kill anybody, but then get aggressive onto the back line? Because yeah, look at this. I mean, Tori and Zoro, they move on in, they get you with Kai and Faith. There's not really a huge amount of support there for those two players at that moment.
Yeah, using that rush, just kind of forcing the issue. And yeah, that's kind of how you want to play that, right? You want to play as fast as you possibly can, so Kai doesn't have time to chunk people down. Headshot the Cassidy so you can follow it up. Headshot the Tracer, maybe headshot somebody. And doing that with the rush is kind of perfect. Looks like Ultimates actually are going to change up their backline. They're going to go Sky, Ana, and then Faith back onto the Brig now.
Yes, we'll see. And with the break in the mix, right? They were doing this on Dorado to get some extra help, as that's going to be the Bob thrown in there. It's just going to be right on top. I mean, it's a brutal scenario for Sakura, right? To be able to fight in that close quarter area with the Bob. It's in a great spot. Oh, look at this. They actually go to the high ground. They just kind of circumvent this completely. It's going to be 3 kills here for Sakura Esports.
Oh, what a stick.
It's Hori with another.
Okay, you take that, actually.
Yeah.
You get a little remake there, a pulse bomb for a remake, you're nice. Kai is not going to be able to survive this.
Dude, it's a sick ball from Kai, and then they get 2 kills right off the bat. And then Hitori and both supports somehow make it to the high ground, do with 3.
Still getting a little bit of time on the point, but I think Kevster is there. Although not anymore. Okay, sorry, Kevster, kind of jinxed you there. Mines deployed on the point. There it is. That's the time and space that you want if you're Kai. And here come the kills for the Ashe. All right, Ultimates, they eventually get a clean team fight. Nice little sleep on the back of that too. Sakura Esports, they wiped, and now the bot can reset.
Yes, but Ultimates, that definitely was much harder than they probably originally thought, right? They thought they were gonna, drop the Bob, jump down, just kind of maybe the Bob gets a kill right away, which I believe they do get a kill instantly off of it. It was either Kai or Kevster to finish it off and then just clean it up. But it's Tori with a tremendous play. She makes the high ground, deals with 2 players along with the supports, and now it's Sakura Esports in the lead.
Gotta heal. Do not let the D2 happen. Oh, that's not good. Nice nade onto Zoro. Now it's just the baby diva. I mean, Hitori is playing this like she's playing actual diva. She was just running people down. Might not survive too long against the Wrecking Ball, though. Yeah, there you go. All right, eventually the fight breaks down as the Wrecking Ball takes over. Without that diva to matrix people, it's very tough to stay alive against a good Wrecking Ball like Chase.
Yeah, you're either trying to die instantly there on the diva, right? Or do enough damage to get the mech back, so may as well get into the frays.
Oh, good hack.
Sombra here, so we just ditched the long-range hit scan all together here for Sakura. So the Cassie drops, and you actually have Sombra. It's a pulse bomb off the rip that somehow connects with Zoro. But the Sombra definitely in the mix for the ball, right? Sombra always traditionally has been really strong against Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, the hacks don't last too long at all, but it stops the momentum of the ball to get a lot of like focus fire down, which is what's going to be important for Zoro. But yeah, struggling on the Cassidy, not too surprised there. Lots of ways to kind of counter it, like you were mentioning, Matt. Double support ultimate for the Ultimates, though. That's going to be fun to say the whole season. The Ultimates ultimate. Here comes the rush, though, from Sakura Esports. Met with a rally, and everybody's grouped up in this small room. That overhealth is going to be building pretty quickly. Hitori probably doesn't want to mess with that. Prota definitely didn't. And even a nano boost, too. A bomb? Just everything thrown in by the Ultimates there. China lays down the pulse bomb, but unfortunately it didn't end up hitting the floor. And yeah, you're just running into a meat grinder if you're Sakura Esports. And Faith just juggling the shield, helping Chase stay alive. And that might be the lead gained as well.
Yeah, I think that would be the key, right? Is this going to be the lead off of this? It's going to get extremely close. If not, you actually kind of think this is pretty good for Sakura Esports. They get right on top of it. They want to prevent them from getting in the lead, right? Because you have 2 players coming up the spawn still here for the Ultimates. So yeah, Ultimates have to back up. They don't have a player advantage at that moment. Sakura would have had it off the spawn, and they do a great job of preventing them from taking the lead.
Yeah, 0.13 meters. Mines ends up coming in. That quick hack not quite activating, unfortunately. Got to upgrade your cyberware or something if you're Sombra there. Sturball dead. Pulse bomb in the hands of Kevster, and here comes the lead, Matt. Kevster's just got to stay alive, and he does. Slips out of there. It looks like, and to be fair, spectating good traces, it really does feel like they have unlimited blinks. And EMP for Zoro does connect with 3, but Kevster, Kai, and Faith were able to stay alive. Faith eventually ends up getting taken down by the Lucio, but Kevster is still alive and well. The dive, and an aggressive one after that EMP. Looks like they've overstayed their welcome, and Kevster again. A good connection onto the D.Va, stops the D-Mech coming in, and Chase is there for the finish.
He's a machine. It feels like Sakura Esports at this point, though, Jack. They're just kind of throwing bodies at the bot to prevent that lead from being taken. It feels like they need to just kind of like take a breath, slow down, and play for a good fight here. As Tori will go down. Just playing by the barricade because there's still a decent amount of time left. I mean, a minute 55. Even if you give up, the lead by a meter, I mean, you just need 2 fights to go your way. You're back in the lead.
Yeah, but it's actually getting those 2 fights, Matt. Giving up, I think actually just giving up the lead here it might be a loss for Sakura. You've got to be so careful.
The lower the clock gets, right? I mean, if you're going to give up the lead, you would have given it up before, right? I mean, that's a huge kill there.
That is a big pick from China. Can they actually even this one? Kevster does not have a pulse bomb right now, but this Wrecking Ball still being quite the nuisance. Looks like they're trying to chase Kev. Kev not with unlimited blinks that time around. China gets his revenge as the Suzu comes in. Not quite in time, though, to save for Tori's mech. And now she's in trouble. She's on fire, and Proto is so low. They end up killing the baby D.Va. And here comes the snowball. They just need to make this a quick and clean fight, and they might be able to take the lead. A late rush from Proto. That's disastrous. 1 minute to go now as the Ultimates are pushing Sakura Esports to their limit.
Oh, I mean, that rush is, yeah, I mean, you're gonna love to have that one back, especially if you end up having to win a few more fights. Histori just jumped down onto the bot. They want to stay in the lead as desperately as possible, but looks like they're gonna give it up now.
Yeah, GLHF. Ain't no way you're fighting that fight. Nano boost, Bob, pulse bomb, 30 seconds to go, and Hattori is down for the count, Matt.
I mean, Sakura led for, it feels like a majority of the game, right? We were just constantly getting fights mid-map. It just feels like whenever they got close to taking lead the Ultimates, Sakura just kind of throwing bodies at the point, throwing Ultimates out there, and the Ultimates, they just stayed well composed, right? They weren't just kind of throwing things in there just to try and gain the lead, right? They played for this big advantageous advantage to get a huge lead.
Kevster ends up going down. Thought he could maybe just challenge China and Sturball. Soundbar available. No ultimates here for Sakura. That's the ideal situation for them. They don't want to invest too much. Overtime is here, and with 85 meters to 59, it looks like Sturball has to use something as Chase, Kai, and Faith, they're feeling the kill feed with Orange, and that will be the match with an ultimate to spare. The Ultimates, they're going to take match point in the series.
Yes, they go up 2-1 now as it felt like for a while Sakura Esports holding on. The clock was kind of dwindling, but they still had that like 2-meter lead. But as soon as the Ultimates, they kind of put everything together, right? Sakura just kind of funneling there onto the bot, just trying to prevent a lead change. Eventually, it ended up backfiring, and then it's it just kind of opens up the floodgates there for the Ultimates, take a big lead towards the end.
I'm going to be honest, that was one big fight, that whole map. There wasn't really too much downtime. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Part and parcel with Wrecking Ball, Tracer, all these fast comps. It makes sense that everything was just kind of one big skirmish. It wasn't like, okay, consistent, a big team fight, okay, team wipe, okay, another team kill, another team kill. It was one big mess is a polite way of putting it. The Ultimate's really coming up big, and Chase on the Wrecking Ball, and now banning the hazards. You can see exactly why. You don't really have to worry about too much if you can just play this nice little dive tank and then dive the backline with Kevster over and over again. There is the stats from the last map as well. Dude, 5.3 to 1.2.
The deaths, I mean, it's just Sakura Esports just dumping their body on the objective constantly to prevent it from moving. which they did a good job of preventing it from moving, but they weren't able to like kind of prevent it from moving for like long stretches, right? They jump on, they'd hold for a few seconds, then the bot would get moving. Like they never really kind of played for a strong hold and like a big fight. They just kind of kept playing almost to. You're almost playing like not to lose at that point, right? Where you're just kind of like, okay, let's just throw our bodies at the cart and hope that eventually we win a fight or they mess up, and then the bot moves back a little bit further in their territory and we kind of win, as opposed to like, okay, like, let's give them the lead by maybe 5-6 meters. Let's all group together, right? Because you could have just said, okay, let's give them the lead, and then you just could have like played from the high ground on the bridge, right, where the bot like was, and just play for like a winning fight there in that type of scenario, right? They would have may have had to just move off of the bot, right? They would have not wanted to fight in that position, right? So you could actually got a better fight on the ground.
All right, then we're going to a Flashpoint map here. Sakura Esports choosing Suravasa. What do you make of this map? What do you think the bans are actually going to go to?
Oh, I mean, the bans, let's see. So we just saw Sojourn gone in that one, and then the Hazard. I think, obviously, Sakura Esports, I think they keep the Hazard in, right?
Yes.
Do they maybe try and like go after a support, right? We've seen Kiri gone throughout it. I believe that Kiri, though, was a ban from the Ultimate. So like maybe there's some type of a support ban in play for Sakura Esports. I think that could be in play. So KSA comes in for Chase.
This makes sense, I think.
Yeah, so this says you're probably going to see Hazard, right?
Yeah, you banned the Hazard last map. You're like, okay, we want to play a little bit more divey here. We have Chase on the ball. Hazard cannot be banned by yourselves, at least. And you, like you said, Sakura probably don't want to ban the Hazard either. So subbing KSA makes it perfect sense here for the Ultimates. No substitutions by Sakura Esports as well, just to just clarify that as well. And it will be Sakura banning first. So at this point, I don't know. I'm like, should we just ban Tracer? Like, and have China play something else?
But they
I know, but like, Kevster is so good.
I mean, yes, I agree there, but
he can also play everything, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is the you're kind of almost looking at it like the gap between Kevster and China in terms of Tracers closer than like China playing Genji, let's say, and Kevster playing Genji.
Sure, yeah,
along those lines, right? So, it may not be the best outcome, but it probably. When kind of looking across the board in terms of damage dealers is, but they actually, Sakura Esports goes and bans the Juno and the Ultimates bans.
And then Ultimates bans, okay.
I think that's good from the Ultimates. Like Kevster can play just about everything, put the pressure onto China, make China play something different, right? Because you're fine, like, hey, Kevster can play Genji, he can play, I mean, just go down the list of heroes, can play literally everything. So you're totally fine eliminating the Tracer from this match.
Yeah, so Ultimates here. I'm expecting Sojourn, Genji, Hazard, Kiriko, and then Lucio. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a mirror, right? Just run it back. I mean, we saw this like earlier in the series. So the Kiri is gone. Was he at the no? It was Juno that was gone.
Juno was banned.
Juno's gone. Can you play Maga? Right? We saw the Sakura Esports play that early on. Like. The Juno's really sick with the Maga, so like I don't know, but that would be something to keep an eye on, right? That even if Sakura Esports like they fall behind in the mirror, maybe they try and bring out that Maga hit again.
I don't mind it. I don't hate it at all, actually. And if you're not confident in the mirror,
when we saw Sakura Esports not play Tracers throughout the series, it was the sim with the Maga, right?
Right, yeah, and Suravasa, not the worst map to play sim, I'd say. I would say not the best, but not the worst. So that could be the different flavor that they bring out. If you do end up going that way, I would say, well, Kevster probably goes towards maybe even an Echo. Well, actually, maybe not. I think you could play Echo or Genji, to be fair, in that matchup. But you get high value duplications, and Echo is just so strong. It seemed like such a small buff, but like the beam doing more damage when you're above 50% really helps it tick over that 50 and then just like actually burst someone down. So yeah, Echo.
How many really times have we had a patch and then like a hero like just becomes absurd, and then the conversation is, well, it started off with a small buff and it looked like a small buff, and then all of a sudden it's
it's huge.
The hero's 100% picked right now. But hey, with the bans, right? I think it's going to open up a lot of different things for teams, right? And for a bunch of teams, that obviously played at EWC, they have some experience, with the ban system. Where a lot of these teams, right, they kind of used it to get to this point, but then now kind of going against the top tier teams with like coaching staffs and whatnot, and like deep tools to be able to kind of like look at and analyze what to ban. It'll definitely take, I think, some teams a little bit of time to get up to speed in the best strategy.
Yeah, we're just resetting the lobby just to make sure everything's all chill. So as we do that, we'll be in just we're getting in just a moment.
Rose's internet was hosting this lobby.
She was hosting the server locally.
Yeah, I was hosting
from her machine.
Her machine, yeah.
That feels so like old school LAN party vibes.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than like you just have internet issues out of your control. Hopefully Rose gets it all sorted tomorrow. Everybody wants to see her.
I think she's getting a new router delivered, so yeah, we should be.
What?
Sorry, Matt. Let me put it into a router. A router.
A router.
A router. Yes, if
right, that would be
British
like
English.
You there's a U in there.
Yeah.
Zoe's telling me to go away.
Zoe is
I'm being banished from the EMEA broadcast.
All right, let's get in before you actually do get banished. Zoe has control over the Discord, so you might get kicked any moment. We'll never know. Sakura Esports. Match point scenario for Ultimate, so they got another chance here to come back. Sakura, they look good in their first map on Control. Can they repeat the same success?
Even though a loss here for Sakura Esports, like, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, this is a team that probably looking at it, you're like, hey, you know what? Like, we don't have a great shot. But it's a series where you've played them extremely tough. It should give you lots of confidence going into some of these other matches, right? Against some of the top tier teams.
New jump scare just dropped. You telling me those eyes don't look demonic, Matt?
No. So we actually got some confirmation. There's like a bird phobia.
Okay.
But, like, there isn't anything specific for pigeons. Look.
Matt,
I'm not gonna butcher this for there's people who study and work on this stuff.
Do it for the stream, Matt.
I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm not gonna ruin it for them by butchering it. But it is a bit of a lie though, because you're not scared of all birds. So
that is true. Maybe they'll come out with the pigeon exclusive one. All right, here we go. China, no surprise here. So China versus Kevster on the Genji. Mirror matches as we see the Hazard in play as well. High ground control imperative here for both Sojins, and it looks like, unfortunately, for Sakura and Zoro, they're not going to be granted that, at least not for the time being, as Satori just chased out of town.
I think this is good though for the ultimates, like we were talking about in the pregame, right? Obviously you get rid of Tracer, that takes it off the board for Kevster, but you feel good about him playing any other type of hero. And you can even widen that gap right between Kevster and China, and you're already winning. You think then it results in almost blowout type wins.
Tori's got a fair bit of ult charge though. She was able to get 50% in that first fight. Although, like we've mentioned before, although I think people had a very adverse reaction to seeing Hazard's ult initially, and like it going through walls and terrain and stuff, but especially when how fast Overwatch is getting, especially with Juno and obviously Lucio being a perma pick a lot of the time, like it's actually fairly easy to get out of with a lot of mobility, which most characters have these days.
I mean, it's also just something that's like completely foreign into Overwatch, right? Things that like go through walls or around certain like objects and the kind of like do impact. So I think as soon as everybody sees it to start, it's definitely an allergic reaction to it. But now that it's been played with for a while, I think people are kind of getting used to it. And this has been a blowout on this first point, though, Jack. I mean, this is the ultimate dominating.
I mean, Kevster, he is just a machine built in Sweden to play Overwatch. That's
built different.
Yeah. He is built differently, that's for sure. And he's got his ult.
In Sweden, we were there. That was an awesome.
Yeah, you like Sweden, Matt? Name your favorite thing about Sweden in Stockholm.
I liked the hotel.
Yeah, you like your room, huh?
Yeah, food was good. Although they gotta get some Italians there, because some of the pizza that they're making, man, that is not good.
We'll get Johnny on that. I heard he makes a good pizza, bro.
He told me and so we were to get a pizza, and it was not a good one.
There's the downpour being used on the point. Just looks like it connected with KSA, but safely around the corner there was KSA, and a sound barrier, well, on top of that, also the rush. So you are not dying. That is for certain if you're the Ultimates. Kevster is 1 HP. Doesn't really care, though. Does end up going down to China, but the Ultimates do end up winning that fight pretty cleanly.
Yeah, and this is getting really dangerous for Sakura Esports. Like, now that you have this sound barrier, like, are you going to hold it to match the blade here that comes in from Kevster? Everything used there, but the Ultimates in the last fight. I wonder if there's a way, though, that the Ultimates can kind of force this sound barrier out maybe a little bit early. Or do you take a fight early, right? Try and get them to use on the Sakura Esports side. Maybe they use 2-3 Ultimates, you end up losing the fight. You still have an advantage coming back.
Soundbarrier for Strebo. You can see him hanging a little bit far away. Soundbarrier behind the pillar. Hits 5. Here comes the blade from China. But Kai, turns Zoro into a liquid there with that railgun. Nice ultimate there from KSA, locking everybody down. Ultimate still control that point, and KSA is still pumping out the damage. And Hattori struggling to just even grasp onto someone, Matt. It's tough for someone to get locked down without that ult.
You don't even need Kevster's blade in that fight.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, winning it with no blade is like kind of absurd. KSA though with a sick downpour though, right? They're going in with the blade. China going for a swing, gets kind of caught in a Zoro hit as well. And now the Ultimates find themselves just one flashpoint away here from winning this series. Maybe a little bit tougher than some people had expected, but still would result in a positive outcome from the Ultimates, a team that a lot of people think is going to be the best in the EMEA.
Yeah, blade and another rush too in 10%. All right, Zoro starts the fight off with an overclock. Little deflect there from Kevster, not the target you want to shoot now. As KSA escorts himself out of the point. All right, just some space. That was all that was garnered from that Ultimate. No kills, unfortunately. Ultimate's doing a good job of backing off, but Kevster in trouble. Does end up dashing away. Oh, a good wall too. Oh, it's going to trap the Lucio. Faith ducking around the corner there, maybe trying to help Kevster, and getting caught out by Hattori. Good positioning there from the tank, as Sakura Esports are now going to hopefully grab that point, but it doesn't look like Ultimates are done just yet. A rush on the point, and Hattori is taken care of as they end up capping too.
They actually decide to end up using their Kitsune rush. It's like Sky, Kai, and KSA, but I believe they lose Kai right before it goes down. So the Ultimates do gain a little bit of percentage, right? 8, but you know, nothing to brag about. As we'll see them. Kevster's still holding on to this blade. We'll see if we get a use of it here in this fight coming up.
Oh, and straight to the backline goes Kevster. They didn't really see it coming. There's the Suzu already used, trying to get the swings, and there's the reset dash with the help of KSA. Hattori, though, straight in the front line. Good proactive play from Sakura Esports, as Hattori gets 2 kills with the little micro missiles there, the micro needles. KSA does end up killing Hattori, but it doesn't matter because Sakura still control that point, Matt. It was a bit of a scrappy affair, but with KSA dying last, it's going to be a little bit of a dangerous game with Ultimates fighting on the point.
Yeah, doing a nice job, though, there was Sakura Esports, right? Taking the advantage in terms of going fast, going first. I think kind of caught the Ultimates off guard, but like you mentioned, it's going to be sound barrier here to kick things off here from Sakura Esports.
Defensive downpour there from KSA locks Hattori in place. Same with Strebor. Lucio already dead, and the sound barrier in the hands of the Ultimates right now. They don't ideally want to use it, but they unleash it anyway. As soon as Zoro pops that ult, takes care of Kai. Sound barrier didn't come in time, but Ultimates needed to win this fight. Sky with a perfectly timed Suzu and Swift Step to save his own life. Eventually does a fall. In fact, Prota kills 2 with his kunai headshots. Okay, didn't really expect the Kiriko to come up with kills there, but you'll take it nonetheless.
But it's still, I mean, it is the Ultimates coming out on top in that one. Sakura Esports still 1 fight away, though, from taking this flashpoint. But just kind of looking how things are aligning here, Jack, it's not really looking great for Sakura Esports, right? The Ultimates, you'll end up having this blade yet again for Kevster. You're going to be able to build this quite quickly. Kitsune rushes to match, but it's going to be Kai with that overclock. Pretty huge advantage. We know how devastating he is just with Sojourn in general. Now with the overclock, though, a clean window on the other side, right? No, like, sound barrier to counter it. Could be huge here.
China's still trying to grapple with this small flank that's happening right now. Taking a fair bit of damage from Kevster. Just the neutral shurikens. Kind of landing some headshots. There's the blade. It's been popped. Already taken 1 body shot, though. Oh, Kai. Oh, just dipped China. I mean, that is the fight. And Matt, I think that might just be the map as well. A late blade from Kevster, everything thrown in. And Sakura Esports, they got the wave respawns, but they're not going to be able to get back to the point in time as the Ultimates truly showing Sakura Esports what they are made of as they take the map of the series 3-1. Fully warmed up now.
It just took so long for Sakura Esports to kind of get that fight there towards the end, right? They're kind of like trying to build up towards Ultimates, but the Ultimates on the other side, I mean, you had the overclock, you ended up building up a blade, right? Because it took so long. You don't really give yourself another opportunity to be able to fight and bounce back. So the Ultimates take advantage there against Sakura Esports. Map 1, a little bit dicey, but the rest of the series, they look great.
Yeah, I did love what we saw early on, though, from Sakura Esports, right? They were off to a really great start on Samoa. China on Tracer, obviously a big part of that, absolutely popping off. And baited Kevster into that Tracer duel on a non-Tracer map, which then allowed for the Ultimates to heat up, you know, and then finally, of course, they kind of ran away with it. But interesting stuff there. Love that Maga sim composition we saw there as well from Sakura Esports. That worked so well against Hazard. Is that something you guys expect to see more of, perhaps?
The sim comp specifically, probably not. Maybe a little bit here and there. Maybe that's just something that they've got in their back pocket. We know Hattori can flex to a lot of tanks. Like, she's good on the Winston, pretty damn good on the Malga too, and the Hazard. It's just, I think the caliber and like them Ultimates warming up at the very end there and kind of running all over them. But I think it's a good confidence booster for Sakura Esports, facing against a team and even taking a map off a team that everybody is kind of ranking their number 1, number 2 kind of squad right now in EMEA. So a lot of things to kind of look for here, and a lot of tape to review as well if you're Sakura Esports. Yeah. I'd definitely be happy taking down some veterans and honestly just gods of the game like the Ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I also think it's going to be really difficult to have series, especially, I mean, even with the bans, in which Hazard doesn't play like a prominent role in, right? It would seem odd to get a series where both teams would kind of like opt to ban Hazard for like a certain map, right? As like the, you know, things kind of start to develop at least early on. So like you're going to have to play this style of comp and style of play, right? With Hazard in the mix. It's just what other things can you fall back on, right? Especially in a map like Dorado, where you still need to play something that can like be divey and have some type of vertical presence. So I think the Malga was really cool. I just don't think it's something that you can run on multiple maps.
Absolutely. It is good to show those different looks right now as well, especially with hero bans, because you now are forcing the hands, right, of the oppositions. Like, now we're running into the territory where you have to ban specific heroes and maybe waste a ban with it. So it's like a whole different set of mind games heading into this. I do like that.
Yeah, it's like being able to flex to many different, especially tanks right now, is really important. That's why we're seeing KSA and Chase being swapped out. And I think their team, the Ultimates, as a team, are very well equipped for this this hero ban system that we have now. I think especially teams that have one tank, there's a lot resting on your shoulders. There always has been, but there's even more now. So I think we're really going to start to see the gap between teams that have a very cohesive like duo tank in the roster or like a single tank versus teams that were very reliant on like, okay, we're going to play this one style, we're going to play this one style only.
Kester earning themselves the player of the match honors. Some things never change. Like, this could be any year to slap it on. Kester and that Tracer, absolute menace in that backline. I mean, he had his work cut out for him. China did push him, shut him off that Tracer in the first map, but then Kevster is just like,
I mean, he just slaps. Like, the guy just slaps. There's nothing to be said. I said it in the cast, and I'll keep saying it again.
Yeah, you said he's frying.
Yeah, he's frying,
like
exactly.
Is that what the kids say these days?
Yeah, he's using his rooter to fry them.
Shut up, Matt. What is he saying? You've got 2 more games of this, by the way, audience. I apologize for that, Matt. At least Mitchell put him in his place at least somewhat. But like, seriously, Kevster, the more things change, the more things do stay the same, Zoe, and the guy is just going to be a menace until they shut the servers down for Overwatch. The guy is just too good at the game and too good on Tracer too. Like, it's insane.
You know, it's Overwatch is in a good state when you can have tracers popping off left and right. Like it's just that's just exciting. I love that fast-paced kind of style, and we see a lot of that right now in the meta, of course, with so much mobility from the hazards. Like see those diving compositions, it's just so much fun to watch. And then you have those players like Kevster who can absolutely take over a lobby like that. Now we do have an interview, not with Kevster, but we got the next best thing, and that is of course Christopher, their coach. Christopher, thank you so much for joining us. Happy start of a new season. How you feeling getting that first dub?
Surely I'm a better interview than Kevster if we're being real though, right? Like,
yeah, but I didn't, you know.
Surely I'm the best you could get.
That's the spirit. That's spoken like a true leader. Christopher, I want to talk about your team's approach to hero banning, right? Because we did see that very targeted ban of Tracer. We know obviously that Kevster can be a difference maker, but he's also so flexible that it's not that bad for him. And China obviously gave you guys some trouble on Samoa on that Tracer.
Yeah, I think when we built this roster, a huge, I guess, like realization of the new meta, like the new format hero bans is flexibility. So I guess there is a hope somewhere that if the enemy team has one really good comp that they're good at, then we can kind of pick around it pretty effectively. I think, I guess across like the last 3 maps, we kind of forced them into matchups maybe they weren't as comfortable on, or heroes they weren't quite as comfortable on, and maybe that's like a path to success for us when we're not playing our best, I think.
I did want to ask, like, the power level of the other teams right now. Gen G, VP. We saw VP obviously just kind of run over Gen G. Obviously, apart from yourselves, who do you think is maybe vying for like top 2, top 3?
Yeah, I think actually the level of teams impressed me more than I expected. I think obviously I was quite vocal about VP not being good, but actually once they started scrimming, I was pretty impressed with them. I think realistically TM maybe look like the best team right now, and then I think there's kind of like it feels like even teams like Peps, like it's really like they can really beat you, you know, like it's maybe 5 or 6 teams in Europe that like on their maps and on their bans are really strong. So I think the level is never been high. Well, maybe it's been high, but it's pretty high.
So I'm curious, so when building this roster, you kind of mentioned like focusing on flexibility. Like what other things did you kind of consider when putting this roster together? And since you actually get them together, you know, things start to get a little bit different. Is anything surprised you now once you start to work with them a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, this is a group of players I've never worked with. I think obviously we have quite a strong core that were on ENT last season, who were kind of my arch nemesis for like the past year. I think their personality style is actually very different to SSG, you know, like on SSG, we were like quite family oriented, like if you said anything even remotely negative to certain people, you have to like really like sugarcoat it. Whereas this team doesn't, like, there's no sugarcoating this. I think it's like a more direct feedback style for everyone. It's not necessarily toxic. To be honest, in a lot of ways I prefer it, I think. But I think with that comes its own struggles, perhaps. I think, you know, on SSG maybe we had like players that really were like super duper leader types. And I think we're still kind of building that in this team.
I did want to ask one more question, actually. When are we seeing the GOAT, the Twilight GOAT? When are we seeing him? Surely he's coming in.
Tonight. Yeah, I think his flight is in like 2 weeks, hopefully. So probably just get him in just in time for playoffs, especially, you know, get a new patch before playoffs. Anna gets super duper buffed, and then it's over for the rest of the competition.
Okay,
perfect. Good. That's the road to victory. Christopher, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck in your next games.
Thank you.